My name is Dr. Emily Dawson and I'm a lecturer in Science Engagement and Communication at King's College London. My research looks at how people access scientific information, especially science education resources, so that they can understand how science works and what happens in labs like these. If you think about it, there are probably a few ways that you access science information and learn about science over your lifetime. You probably learn most about science while you're at school. If you have a science-related job, you probably keep learning about science for much longer. And more generally, you probably get most of your information about science from the mass media, through newspapers or online, through Twitter or through watching TV. Plus, research suggests that about 50% of people in the UK use science education resources like science centres, zoos and aquaria, botanic gardens or science festivals, and similar places that we like to call informal science learning environments. A great example in London is the Science Museum, where we are right now. What we've spent a lot of time working on is trying to understand why and how some people find it harder to access the science information and the learning opportunities provided by schools, by the mass media, or by informal science learning environments, and how that might affect them. Let's use an example of a public health issue that was all over the news, the horse meat scandal. At the start of 2013, British News reported that horse DNA had been found in supermarket products that should instead have contained beef or other meats. The scandal grew and grew, pulling in more and more supermarkets and more food brands, as the full scale of the use of horse meat in British food products was revealed. But so what? For someone with an interest in the role of science in our society, the horse meat scandal followed a pretty typical path for how science gets into the news. It was controversial, sometimes shocking, and it focused on an issue we can all relate to, our dinners. It raised important questions about industrial farming, food production and food consumption. From my perspective, what's so interesting about science news scandals like the horse meat scandals are the issues they bring up about access to science education, information, and our ability to have a say in public health issues and other socio-scientific issues. To me, the question is, what tools do people have to make sense of science news stories and the issues involved? And if they don't have those tools, how disempowered are they as a result? These are the kinds of questions that make researching educational equity and access to scientific information so important when you think about the role of science in our society. If we understand enough about how, why, where, when and with whom science learning happens, we can work towards making science learning and access to science information more equitable and enjoyable for everyone.